So I'm checking in a bit earlier than I was supposed to. Today marks a week since I found out I was pregnant. Like a week today. But I had an intention that I would wait till next week to like check in case I like didn't have anything to tell you. But I felt so bad this week and I feel horrific today. And I thought I want to check in and tell you because there's no point in making it look like all hearts and fucking fairies when I feel like shit just now. And you know what? I think I mentioned this already, and if I haven't, I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but I know being pregnant isn't an illness. So please, if anybody's going to be like, God, you're not the first woman to get pregnant. Like, I get it. But this sickness and nausea is fucking tiresome and exhausting. And see, because I'm diabetic as well, not being able to eat, and then therefore like I'll make myself something to eat. I made myself some soup today. It's now 2:30. I made myself some soup about 12:30. Just plain soup, nothing too fancy. I thought something light on my stomach, but so I can get something into my stomach. And obviously I need to take insulin when I eat as part of my diabetes. That's just part and parcel. But I don't know if I'm going to keep the food down, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to complete the whole portion of food, and then therefore I don't know how much insulin to take, and it's so fucking hard. I'm feeling a bit sorry for myself today, which is ridiculous. Because I'm really fucking happy about the situation, but this is hard. And the reason I'm finding it even more hard isn't because I'm like, oh yeah, I feel like shit, I feel so ill, but more like because I'm so worried I'm going to be doing something wrong. Because I'm worried that if I don't eat the right things, or if my blood sugars aren't stable, something's going to happen. And this is the first week. And Alan has been brilliant, but also he's like, we've got a bit to go. And I'm like, I know, but this is horrific. Like, I can't cope with this. This is just, this nausea is overwhelming, which has also meant this week I haven't been at work. I phoned one of my managers because at the moment I've been moved to a different ward to help with staffing. I didn't want to phone the manager of that ward because I don't really know them that well, and I don't want to make it common knowledge, so I phoned the lady above her, but that was just because I know that lady a bit better, and explained the situation, and they were very understanding. They were very, very nice about it, and they're like, no, just you make sure you're okay, blood sugars are okay, you might need to go to your GP and like see if you can get a bit of time off if you're not feeling better by next week, which I'm just hoping I am. I just want to feel fucking better. I just want to be eating the way I would normally eat. I've usually got a really varied and healthy diet. Like, I love eating like not strange things, but even when I was younger, when I was like a little kid, my mum used to be like, you're a strange child. Like, loved things like Brussels sprouts, or loved things like liver, which I know I'm not allowed to eat in pregnancy before anybody puts any comments, I know that, but things like liver, I've never been a fussy eater. And yesterday we went to Aldi. Alan was like, we'll see what you feel like, and I was like, yeah, I want to come and see what, because sometimes I just get the notion to be like, oh, I need to eat something like that. So ice poles have been a miracle. I had one for breakfast today. I had some grapes and strawberries. I managed that, and then I had an ice pole because I was like, can't even think about getting anything else over. I went to Aldi and I was like, oh, the minute I stepped into the vegetable aisle, which is usually the first bit in Aldi, honestly thought I was going to vom, and it just put me off everything else in the shop, and I was useless. I couldn't help, like, you know, we're quite good with like planning out meals and being like what we're going to have today and what will we have later in the week. This morning before Alan was leaving for work, he's like, do you want a chicken salad for dinner? And I was like, no, I don't want a chicken salad for dinner. I can't even tell you what I want for dinner. I'm so sorry. And he, like I say, he's very good, but it's difficult because he's almost having to make like a meal for one at the moment, and I'm just picking at the odd things I want. It's just so unlike me. It's just making me feel so rotten, and I just wanted to be realistic about it. I am taking multivitamins, so I'm hoping that I'm getting plenty of nutrients and things from that. I'll show you what I'm taking actually. I'm taking these ones. We went to Boots, I picked these up. They were on an offer as well, not a sale or anything, but they were on an offer 3 for 2, so I got 3 boxes. Oh, see, there we go. Ooh. Today's been worse because I felt that kind of rifting feeling the last few days. And today's Friday, and on Tuesday, Wednesday, I think it was, or Wednesday and yesterday, I felt like I'd turned a corner. I thought, oh, I've had my lunch today, like I feel okay today. I thought that I turned a corner, and then today it's just hit me like a ton of bricks again. Oh, and today it's like, you know that feeling when you think, I feel nauseous, but the saliva builds up in your mouth, like you think, I'm actually going to be sick. That's what it's been like today. It's been horrific. I've moved from my bed to the couch. I'm on a couch with a blanket. That is it. That is all I've done today. Anyway, yeah, so I'm taking these just now, and these ones have all the nutrients you're supposed to have, but they also have pills with omega-3. So they have the normal pregnant care vitamins, and then they have omega-3 as well. Boots seem to have their own brand of stuff as well. It was just because those ones were on offer. I thought they seemed like a good idea, so I picked them up. And actually, when I phoned the GP this morning to say I'm not going to be in work and I maybe need some time off, that she was lovely as well. She was like, oh, I remember it well. She was like, I suppose they are the godsend. And I was like, well, that's how I felt this morning. So she was lovely, and she said, and are you on a multivitamin? I said, yeah, I've been taking them for a week now. Well, actually 5. I got them on Sunday, so 5 days. She says, right, don't worry. She was like, any little thing you manage to eat, baby's going to take nutrients from it, so don't worry too much. It's more about you and your blood sugars and managing to keep some fluids down, which today has also been a real struggle. I bought myself this new water bottle. Well, I tell you, Alan bought me it actually. And it's a 500ml one, and I'm trying to drink 3 to 4 of these a day, so I'm taking in 2 litres, and today that's the only one I've managed to drink. It's not finished yet, so we're nearly at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and I've not drank a full one today. Although I have had we had little flavoured waters, I've had one of them, but I've not drank as much as I'd like today, so I'm kind of forcing myself to do it. But fuck me, I feel awful, just awful. I would like to come on and tell you some great happy news. The other happy news was my mum came to visit on Wednesday, and I have told her. She's the only person that knows so far, other than the manager and work, and that was just because it's more of a professional thing. So the only person I've told is my mum so far. We are going to tell Alan's mum and dad. I kind of said to Alan, it's kind of up to you. Like, I'd be happy to tell them. I think he's just not wanting to rush before we're like kind of into a settled pregnancy. He wants to know everything's going to be okay. So he kind of said he might want to leave it a couple of weeks before we tell them. So at the moment, as far as my calculations work, I'll be coming into 7 weeks pregnant this week. I think at the moment I'm like 6 weeks and 5 days. So I will be 7 weeks at the end of this. And I am hoping that I turn a corner with this nausea, because this is awful. And everything I fucking read's like, oh, it could go on to the 13th week, it could go on through your whole pregnancy. And I'm like, fuck off. I can't do this for 9 months. Of course I would, but I just mean like I need to be able to eat. Like, it's just an added fucking complication. All people need to eat to be able to nourish their baby. I need to be able to eat just to fucking keep myself right, never mind anybody else. So, oh, it's just a bit of a fucking nightmare. And I feel like shit. I feel so bad today. And as I said, I thought, you might be thinking, well, why are you sitting filming if you feel so bad? But I thought, no, I need to get on camera and actually say the reality of it rather than kidding on. It's all fucking rainbows and sweetness and light, because this week has not been at all. Hello, I'm back again for another update. I think the last time I filmed I was like almost having a cry over how sick I was feeling. I still feel pretty crap in that respect. I have now been off work for nearly 2 weeks, 10 days. I was sent home from work. It'll be 2 weeks on Friday and today is Thursday, so tomorrow. And I still don't feel, it's, the vomiting itself is not, like, I'm not actively vomiting every day. It's the nausea, like the actual feeling of feeling like you're going to be sick is pretty consistent at the moment still. And my absolute fatigue, like my exhaustion. I get up, like today I got up a bit earlier than normal. I'll explain why in a minute. I got up earlier, so I was up at like 7:30 and out for 8 o'clock because I had things to do. Like I said, I'll get into it. And by the time I came back at 9 o'clock, I went back to bed. I had a bit of breakfast and I went back to bed and I didn't wake up till 1:45. I feel like I could sleep all the time and there is just no way I could go into work feeling the way I feel. Like I'd be useless to anybody, absolutely useless. Anyway, the reason why I'm doing this update this week is because actually, unfortunately through the week we had a bit of a scare, and I think so Monday into Tuesday morning I had a bit of bleeding and I was obviously very, very worried. Not like full force bleeding. Obviously you go and look at things, a lot of things say this is quite regular, it happens all the time to lots of women, but still get it checked out. Basically I'd phoned NHS 24, I'd spoke to a GP, everybody was like, oh, we're not, you know, it doesn't sound concerning, but phone the early pregnancy unit, and I phoned them and they reassured me as well, but said let's get you in for a scan just in case. And as I say, a bit TMI, but I would like to be open and honest in these vlogs. It wasn't like heavy, it was like a pink colour. Actually, I'll probably show you my diluting juice, that might help. Can you see? So this is like pink, it was kind of that colour. And the morning after, so the Monday night it had happened, and then the Tuesday morning it was more like a dark brown red, almost as if something had lay there overnight and then that was it coming away. But regardless, obviously I'd phoned someone, so they said, oh, we'll get you in for a scan. So I was supposed to go for a scan on Wednesday, but unfortunately due to staffing in the hospitals at the moment, they couldn't get me in on the Wednesday, so I had to go this morning, and today's Thursday. And thankfully at the moment everything looks normal and in keeping with the timeline that I thought. I thought I was 7 weeks and 4 days at the moment, 7 weeks and 5 days at the moment, and they put me down for 7 weeks and 2 days, but they said that that scan won't be taken as the dating scan, that will happen at 12 weeks. But thank Lord, when everything looks normal for as at the moment, there is still a long way to go yet, I'm aware of that, but I'm trying to take the positives from it, that everything is good, everything is okay at the moment. We did get a little picture. The actual pictures we've seen on the screen and the lovely sonographer, that I don't actually know if she was a midwife or sonographer, because she had like an NHS uniform on, and certainly in my hospital the sonographers aren't usually like in uniform, they would be in scrubs or something, or just plain clothes. But she was definitely in a uniform very similar to the one I wear, so I wondered if she was a midwife, but they are trained up to do these scans. I wasn't entirely sure, but she was lovely. She's very, very nice. She said that, yep, bleeding can happen. She said it might happen again, but as long as it's the way it has been, try not to worry too much, but if it gets heavier, if it's like a period or you have any real pain, then contact us again straight away. So she was really nice, and the images she put up on the screen, and when she explained them, I was just really overwhelmed, because I thought, oh thank God, everything is okay, thank God. I was really overwhelmed by that. But it wasn't that I was overwhelmed because I was like, people always say, oh I seen the heartbeat and I got so overwhelmed. I was just so overwhelmed because I thought, thank God, everything is all right. And yeah, I asked a few questions and Alan was there. And I'll show you the picture we got, but it's rubbish in comparison to the ones she was showing us on the screen. This won't even make any sense. Look at it. Sorry, I'm just covering my NHS number there. That is the sac, this little circle here, and this little blob thing here, that is baby. This is my womb, and this area here is the pregnancy area, the pregnancy sac that's starting to form at the moment, and here is the little yolk sac, and here is the little being. I actually think that you'll never see it on the camera. It looks a bit like a gummy bear. That's what it looks like to me. So I think I'm gonna start calling it Bear at the moment. Wee Bear, just you stay safe in there. That would be nice. Yeah, so seen heartbeat, seen all that a lot earlier than we were expecting. And if I'm honest, like, it's reassuring, but I would rather have not went through that anxiety either. It was horrific. I don't think anybody, I say this, I might be wrong, but I don't think I've ever really heard women openly speak about bleeding in early pregnancy. Like, I've heard loads of people like say, oh I had a scare or things like that, but just in general chat amongst women, and I work in a predominantly female orientated area as well, when they've chatted about pregnancies or childbirth and stuff like that, I've never heard anybody speaking about just how, yeah, I just bled through my pregnancy but they were okay with it, or like it happened to me quite frequently. I never ever have heard anything like that. And actually when I phoned my mum to say to her, look, I've had a bit of bleeding, she was like, I had that really early on, they put it down to me having a urine infection. And I was like, why does nobody talk about this? Because although you should always get it checked regardless of it being more common or not, it would just be a little bit more reassuring to be like, right, it's not just me that's going through this. And I think like the actual people that do know at the moment, so my mum knows, Alan's mum and dad knows, and a friend from works knows, and that is it. Again, my boss knows, but that's just for logistic reasons. And she's a nice lady, but I didn't tell her from that. I wanted to let her know why I wouldn't be at work because I was so violently ill. But a girl from my work knows as well. So that is all the people I've told. So not a lot of people. And she was like, I had a bit of cramping and stuff with her wee one and bleeding, but once like after intercourse. I was like, well, that's not what it was down to. I can assure you, if you're feeling so sick, that has not been an option. And then when that happened, that made me even more wary of, like, just let's not go there. The only other thing I would say, if anybody's watching this, if you've ever had issues with your cervix, like abnormal cells on the cervix, like if you go for your smear test, your pap smear, if you've had that, sometimes it can mean that your cervix is a bit more irritable. And what the woman was saying was that obviously that area is very vascular and there's a lot of blood goes to that area anyway, just your vagina in general and that whole area of the body. But at the moment there's even more blood going to it because you're basically taking things down to to nourish a baby. And so she's like, so it can just be, you know, a bit of irritation in the cervix sometimes, or it can be just a little bit of when things are growing and developing a little bit, some might come through. But at the moment, things looked okay. I am keeping my fingers, my toes, my legs, my arms, everything crossed, that it stays that way, and we will see Bear again, wee Bear, at week 12 now, I suppose, if things all go to plan. I am a very realistic person, and it makes me seem a bit of a doom monger and a bit of a negative Nancy, but I think it's a defence mechanism. Like, I like to prepare for the worst a lot of the time, which isn't a good way to be sometimes. And Alan's very much like, you need to take the positives from today and you need to calm, and it's easier said than done, obviously, but in yourself, obviously, if you're stressed or anxious, that is also going to kind of have an effect on your body. So I am trying to be as chill as possible now and not overthink things too much, but it's very difficult. It's so difficult to not think, and I'm only like 7 weeks and 2 days, and I think, God, I've got so far to go. I really need to try and keep up the positive attitude, because I don't think mentally I will cope if I keep worrying about things, but it's so difficult not to worry. Anyway, so that's where we're updated this week, but again, if there's any changes or anything, I will come back to you and let you know. Hello, so we are in week 8 approximately. I feel I am looking much better. Might just be a fluke today, because yesterday I still felt pretty sick, but today felt much better. I've actually done a little workout today. I think since finding out I was pregnant, I've known about, I've known about 3 weeks now. I've done about 3 or 4 workouts. I've been to the gym twice, but I've done workouts at home, finding kind of safe pregnancy workouts and stuff like that. This isn't to say that you have to work out while pregnant. Just for me personally, again, very personal to me, I have more stable blood sugars if I work out, so it's better for me to keep those stability. I was wanting to continue to work out through this pregnancy, so it's not to do with weight gain or anything like that, although I know weight gain in pregnancy can lead to gestational diabetes, so just be aware of that. But that's not the reason I'm doing it. It's nothing to do with weight gain. It's more to stabilise my blood sugars. So don't anybody feel like, oh, I need to be working out in my pregnancy. If you're feeling like shit, and like the way I was feeling the last fucking 3 weeks, don't worry about it. Like, do not worry about it. I do it for my health and now for this little person in here's health, because I don't want to have high blood sugars, because that can really affect the baby. So I thought I would do a little check-in with you. I'm now in week 8 and show you what my body is like. It hasn't changed. It really hasn't. Alright, so I still very much just look like me. This is some workout gear that I've got on. I'm lifting this up because, to be fair, the boobs have got a little bit bigger, but not like I'm feeling like they are huge, like not uncomfortably. They feel heavier. They feel like they are weightier. I don't know how else to explain that. They're not bigger. I'm not needing a bigger bra. I don't feel like there's any kind of great increase in the size of my bust, but I do feel like they are weightier and heavier and a little bit more tender on the outskirts, like round about the sides here, a little bit more tender. As you can see here, the stomach is just pretty much exactly the same. I am not super duper stick thin. I never have been, and I have the biggest butt and some big old thighs right there. But this is much more normality for me. Excuse, there's about a million shoes down there. The place is a mess, what can I say? But this is normality for me. This is what my stomach usually sits like, usually looks like. And as I say, if I had filmed this last week, I'd have been like that because of bloating, not because I have any kind of real bump yet, but the amount of gas, the amount of constipation, it's delightful, the amount of air and just discomfort that I had in my whole gut system made me feel like that, and that's me pushing my belly out. Whereas this is me a little bit more normal. This is my normal situation, and that is where we are at. So not really looking like much at the moment. I will keep you updated with kind of how we get anywhere. Hello again. Still looking as glamorous as ever. As I come to you today, I am 10 weeks and 6 days, I think, roughly. I had my first midwife appointment yesterday and I'm still very breathless. I asked them if that was normal. They obviously done a lot of bloods. They check full blood counts, all that kind of stuff. I could go into detail about that, but again, just for the purposes of this And for average Joe blogs out there who doesn't have a medical background, there's not much point. So they're basically going to check if I'm anemic. They're going to check for some infections like viruses, stuff like that, which is all standard protocol. They'll check how my kidneys are doing, things like that as well. They'll do all that. That's fine. I spoke to her about the fact I am so constipated. It is unbelievable. And I also spoke to her about the fact I kind of mentioned before that I'd had some bleeding that has continued a bit on and off throughout since week 7. I've tried to be as calm and collected as I can about it. It's very difficult. Nobody seems particularly concerned about it, which in a way is a good thing, because if they were, maybe there would be more issue. But mentally for me it's very difficult, because pretty much every time I go to the bathroom I'm worried. But I also do feel like it coincides with me being constipated. Like every time I need to go to the toilet for a bowel movement, it's like then I might have some bleeding, and it's definitely not from the back. So sorry, I did say this was going to be TMI, but it's real life, isn't it? And it's funny because I feel like I said the last time, like nobody speaks about this. This isn't something anybody speaks about. I'm so concerned about my cervix because I'd had cervical erosion, and I had a colposcopy in my early 20s, which means some of the cells from your cervix grow on the outside rather than the inside, and it can be a result of HPV. It's very common, lots of women get it, and lots of women have colposcopies and treatment for it. And at the time, like my colposcopy came back fine and it was okay, and I've had regular smear tests there since. But I feel like I had a smear test years ago and I was sent to gynecology at that point again because of the cells on the outside of the cervix, and they kind of were like, okay, it's fine. They weren't overly concerned. And I've not had a smear test since, and now that I'm pregnant, nobody wants to look at my cervix. And I think that's for safety reasons, but also I'm very worried about what's going on with my cervix now as well, because I just want someone to tell me, yeah, it's because of that. That is what the bleeding is being caused by. I just want someone to tell me that, and nobody is even willing to broach the topic. Anybody that I've spoke to, and the midwife was so lovely yesterday, and she covered a lot of other things, but she was just like, you know, if it gets worse, to contact us. But and I'm like, that's what everybody keeps telling me, but gonna just tell me why it's happening. And nobody seems to want to put an actual, like, they don't want to cross the T's or dot the I's. They don't want to finalise it, but I guess that's because they can't, and it's so frustrating. And I'm still feeling very sick. I've got chocolate milk today because the mornings are definitely worse at the moment. I have had some mango and yogurt this morning, so I have some fruit in the morning with yogurt, and usually that's fine. I try and have a decaf tea or something, because normally I would have a hot drink in the morning, but at the moment hot drinks just haven't been great. And I had my breakfast, and usually that settles me, but this morning I still feel pretty rotten, so I'm having chocolate milk. I also have ginger snap biscuit here, just in case. On a diabetes note, actually things are relatively stable, probably a bit lower than they should be. Like my blood sugars have been lower, but it's probably because my appetite hasn't been great and haven't been eating as much as I should. I have actually had a COVID test done very recently. I just had one done on Tuesday, and today's Friday, because Alan had sickness and diarrhea, and I was like, oh no, 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 no. So he was actually sleeping in a separate bedroom for a few days, because I was like, please don't give me that. I just don't need that just now, on top of everything else. God bless him, he really wasn't very well. But that's where we're at week 10. I'm not gonna lie, the first trimester, for me personally, not for everybody, I know some people really, they feel tired and they get a bit morning sickness, but a lot of people breeze through it and might feel fine. But I have felt pretty rotten throughout and very tired throughout. and pretty anxious, and I think that's been a result of the on and off bleeding. If I'm honest with you, that's just a fear. I think all women, especially newly pregnant women, are fearful, and it's very difficult not to worry. It's so easy for people to be like, oh, you've got to keep yourself calm because, you know, good environment. It's so easy for people to say that, but it's so difficult to actually maintain it. And a lot of the time I bought myself a Nintendo Switch and I just thought, I'm just going to play games, I'm just going to sit and like read and not do very much. Today I'm going to do some editing and actually put a video up, because that's just all went out the window as well, because I do not feel fit enough to sit through an hour of talking about makeup or anything like that at the moment. But also then editing it is like a whole thing in itself, and I'm just like, I don't have any gumption to do that. So at the moment I've just been playing a lot of Animal Crossing, Zelda, Mario, old Super Nintendo stuff on the Switch that you can get. I think the last time I'd seen you before the bleeding as well, or maybe even last time, I was like, oh, I'm feeling so much better today, I've done a bit of exercise, and that was the last time I'd done it. I really wanted to get back to exercising and feeling better and all that kind of stuff, safe exercising for pregnancy. But because of the bleeding, that anxiety has caused me to be like, I don't want to do too much. And yesterday the midwife was like, you just do what your body tells you to do. Don't do anything. Like, okay, you used to go to the gym 2 or 3 times a week, but if you don't feel safe doing that, or if you don't want to do that, she was like, you're doing nothing wrong. She said, if you're just sitting on the couch eating crisps all day, she was like, even then you're not doing anything wrong now. She's like, you just need to get through this. This is the hardest bit, well, not the hardest bit, like it's all pretty tough, but she was like, if you're sick, you just need to focus on getting something into you. And if you're tired, you need to relax and rest and listen to your body. Don't be trying to jump up and do workouts when you're feeling like this. Like, just listen to your body. So, oh, it's been tough. It's been tough. We have our 12-week scan in 2 weeks today. I will probably check in with you post-scan, and maybe when I'm about 13 to 14 weeks, and see where I'm at then. Hopefully feeling better. Hopefully just thinking we're moving along a bit, because at the moment I'm just like, bleh.